I'm speaking with Nikki. What's your last name?
Formato.
Formato, but that's not what you go by, right?
No, I go by Holes usually. Nick Holes.
Nick Holes. Okay, well, Nick, tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm 30 years old, born and bred on Long Island, New York. Went to Alma Memorial High School, went to Five Towns College. When I was in college, my original plan was to go into audio recording, but my last semester there, I got an opportunity to become a body piercer. So I went with that, and I've been doing that ever since. It's been almost 9 years that I've been in the business.
And where are you now?
I'm working out in Brunswick, Maine.
Wow, Brunswick, Maine is a lot different from Long Island.
A lot slower, a lot less people, but
What was behind that decision? How'd you wind up there?
My sister moved to Maine back when she went away to college, so she was up there for about 12 years before I ever moved up. And I like New York. I wanted to get more into an area where I could get outside, get out more into the woods more often, because eventually I'd like to just kind of live off the land, get out there, and be able to do as much for myself as I can, not have to depend on too many people for anything, and learn as much basic wilderness skills as possible. You could do it in New York. It's a lot tougher to get out there, and it's just, I just wanted to kind of get away from it, see something different. Doing the same thing for 8 years, wanted to see what else was out there.
So I imagine you don't like crowds too much.
I'm okay with them, but one thing I always tell people, if I'm in a mall and I'm walking, everybody kind of has their own thing that they have going on, and my purpose is to get into where I have to go and get out. I'm not there window shopping. So when I'm walking behind people, say in a mall, like Roosevelt Field Mall, which is crazy busy, I feel like I'm driving a car and I'm behind somebody, I see an opening, I got to downshift, pop to the side, speed up, go back in front. So I do prefer less people over more people.
So what's your favorite thing to do?
Really get out in the woods. I've done so many different things. It's hard to say what my favorite thing is to do. I'd say really get out in the woods, start fires by other means besides just a lighter. I don't mean like a fire, like, a campfire. I love getting tattooed. I'm not so much anymore, but I love getting pierced, and I've done a few body suspensions, and I love doing that. It's just a little tougher to be able to do that because it's a little more involved.
Yeah, I don't even know exactly what that entails, but I'm really interested that you made this transition and you basically kind of gave up the life that you have and you went on a different path. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, like I was headed in one direction. I kind of sideswiped that for going somewhere else. What
happened when you were in college? Do you think there was a defining moment when you shifted gears so dramatically?
I realized when I was in college, my last 2 semesters that I was in college, I was going to have to take 2 of the same audio classes, 2 audio classes at the same time, instead of having one semester and one another semester. And at the time, I just realized that I would be able to do it, but it's a tough profession to get into. It's a tough profession to be able to stay in, especially that was back in 2005 that I graduated, and there's so many more people doing their own recording at home using Pro Tools and these things that they can buy themselves that it's a tough industry to get into. So I always wanted to get into piercing, but it's really tough because you have to find somebody.
How do you get satisfaction out of that? I'm real curious because, I don't have any tattoos, I don't have any piercings, I'm just like an old guy. And I really, I never even thought about it. My dad, he was in the military in 1945 and he's got a bunch of tattoos and stuff. I'm just really interested. Is that a way of expression for you?
For what I have, I'm not gonna lie, when I first started getting piercings, I got them because I thought they were cool, thought it looked cool. Then as I got older, I realized that there were more reading behind it than I really realized. I had a lot of oral piercing because communication is a lot more important than people put stock on. Most people sit there and listening, waiting for their time to talk, instead of actually listening to what the person's saying. I have.
You don't know some of my students; they love to talk.
It's weird because you'll hear people and they seem. You're listening to them and you're very intent on listening to them, and then the second you start talking, you can see them like, it's like, I thought we were engaging in something here.
Yeah.
With tattoos, personally, I've always felt that something was missing for me, that not like there's this longing hole, but I felt like on my skin there was always something missing that I wanted to portray. So since I started getting tattooed when I was 18, I've been trying to put that where it feels like it belongs. Like I have a lot of tattoos. My whole back is all sacred geometry, so it's all, very spiritual meaning. But then I also have, on the inside of my arm, I have a character from a Disney movie from when I was a kid. So it's kind of what I feel was missing and what I feel shaped me into who I became and who I am becoming. So for me, it means a lot. There's a lot of people out there that don't have, don't have reason behind it. There's nothing wrong with that. But like example, there was a shop I used to work at. Stuff went down, and I left that shop. When I left that shop, one of the guys that I was working with made me a painting, and it's a lighthouse, and in a banner he wrote "Keep Moving." What I did was, about a year later, I want to say, I had him tattoo that on my toe knuckles to remind myself to keep moving. Because once I got out of that shop, it was such a better situation for me to be in.
When you say keep moving, do you mean career-wise, spiritually,
everything,
relationship-wise?
I'm not too good in relationships. So much about that.
Well, nobody is.
I don't understand it. I learned a long time ago that I understand people, but I don't understand their motives behind things. Like, since I was younger, I understand everything a lot more in logic than I do in emotion. So I have a feeling that over the years that something that I thought, this is how I'm supposed to feel at this time. So I think that I feel it. Whether I actually do, I don't know. But I guess that would go into more, what a feeling is. But keep moving, I would, in every sense, like keep moving forward in my career. You keep moving towards any goal that I'm trying to go for. I've done a couple, like, obstacle course races.
Yeah, aren't you one of those, what do they call it?
Tough Mudder?
Yeah, Tough Mudder.
Yeah. that was tough. That was 10 miles up and down, about 10 and a half miles up and down the side of a mountain. And there were a couple times that I didn't think that I was going to be able to finish it, where I was feeling dehydrated. I didn't think I was going to keep going, but my brother was there and we kept going. We finished it.
This is real interesting for me, because you must have found some motivation at that moment. You said you had the thought of quitting. Right?
Yeah, I thought that I was going to have to. I didn't think I was going to be able to get back up. And my brother was like, we're not stopping. I'm not doing this again next year. We're finishing it this year.
So do you think if he wasn't there that you would have quit?
I think that if he... I almost feel like since he was there, I had to step it up. I had to do my best to get going. If he wasn't there, I don't know if I would have quit, but I definitely would have taken a lot longer. But there's a good chance that I would have quit. That I would have been like, okay, nobody else is here to kind of keep me going. I'm good. Get me off this mountain.
Well, you did it. You finished, right?
Yep. Yeah. It took us over 6 hours, I think, but that's pretty good for up and down the side of a mountain for 10 miles.
Pretty good accomplishment. Thinking back, why did you choose to participate in that event?
My sister went to do one originally for her 30th birthday, and she didn't finish it, but when we heard about it, we had never heard anything like that before. I'd never seen anything like that. So we started looking into it, and we did a much smaller one up in Sunday River in Maine. We did one that was only a 5K, so it's only 3 miles, and it was so much fun that we decided we wanted to start training to do another one. And we've since talked about doing another one, but doing it in a different area, because apparently we picked the toughest one as far as verticals up and down.
So you haven't learned your lesson, is that what you're saying?
Well, I gotta redeem myself. I gotta go through without having to stop.
Yeah, well, your brother's younger than you, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a year younger. He's in much better physical shape than I am. He's always been the athlete. I'm the one that hurt their knee in football when they were 12.
Is he always kidding you about that?
No. We get along really well. We joke around back and forth with each other, but more there's never anything malicious. It's always just joking.
Yeah. And he sounds like a really good influence on you.
Yeah. I hope I'm the same for him, but there's no way to tell.
Well, I'm really interested in that. Not necessarily the influence of you on your brother, but how you feel you may influence the people you encounter in your life. You have any thoughts about that?
I've always piercing for me has always been more of a. For me, getting them has always been more of a spiritual reason of getting it. In today's world, we don't have rites of passage. Well, rather, in America today, we don't have rites of passage anymore. You turn 18, you get a car, you graduate high school, that's kind of it. So, one of the things that I did for myself was, when I turned 21, I did a suspension. So I had 4 hooks put through my back, and I was hung from a ceiling for about 45 minutes from that. And since then, when I'm piercing somebody, I kind of try to... it's going to sound hippie-ish, but I kind of try to push my energy onto that person. Whether that person's in there getting their nose pierced because they think it looks good, or because it's something they feel they need, or if it's, somebody getting their eyebrow pierced because they want to remind us how important it is to look and see what you're actually seeing and interpret it. I try to put it forth as a calm environment where you're safe here, and no matter what you're doing, no matter the reason you're doing it, I'm going to be your guide through this, and we're going to come out of this on on a higher level than where we went into this.
No, it's a real interesting perspective. I would never think of it like that, and maybe I'm just naive.
Well, it's just if you go back to other cultures, the shamans were the ones that would do the piercings, that would do the tattoos. So it wasn't just, this is an adornment I'm getting. They meant something. You're getting these symbols on you because you're a warrior, because you're a hunter. So I tried to kind of put that out there where you can be getting this for whatever reason you want. I just want to try to be your guide and make this as best an experience for you as possible.
No, I appreciate that philosophy. It sounds like you're much more than a place to go to get some body art or a piercing.
It kind of bothers me.
It's a whole experience.
Yeah, because I've always been like that. I mean, going on 9 years now, and I always come across people who, other piercers, people come in with other piercings they got somewhere else, and the people just don't care. They're putting in whatever the person wants instead of doing the right thing and then telling them whatever they want to hear, and I just don't get it.
That's real interesting. So it almost sounds like you're operating as like a coach or a spiritual leader. I mean, maybe even a religious leader to a certain extent, even though it's not a formalized religion, but you're giving people counsel. And it sounds to me, and this is a subject I know very little about, I'm willing to admit to that some people may get piercings or tattoos for the wrong reason in your eyes.
I won't say the wrong reason. Just because it's different than mine doesn't mean that it's wrong. I just always, the only thing that I hate seeing is you get people who don't think it through. Like, I admit that I have the palms of my hands tattooed, but you can't really see it. If I wear long sleeves, you can't really see what I have on my arms. I'm working on, eventually I want a suit. I want to be, totally head to toe, but I won't do the tops of my hands, I won't do the outside of my neck, I won't do anything on my face, well, besides piercing, I won't do any tattoo or scarification on my face until I feel like you have to earn it. You have to have sat through all that to fill up everything else before you should move to those areas. And these days you see kids come in 18 years old, getting something on their hand, getting on their neck, and you can't tell them not to do it, it's their body, but they don't realize the doors that they're closing for themselves in the future, which is sad, and for me that wouldn't be the right reason, but if it works for them, if they're happy with where they're going, I'm happy for them, as long as, a lot of people don't think about the repercussions before they act sometimes.
You seem to be communicating some sage wisdom well beyond your years. Seriously, you're kind of opening my eyes in terms of the meaning of some things that people do. I have to ask you this question. I'm sure there have probably been times where you felt stigmatized because of how you look and reactions to you from other people. How does that feel?
Since I was younger, I never really cared what other people thought. If I did, I probably wouldn't have any of this done. I've always been like, well, if that's what you feel, I can't do anything about it. All I can do is show you who I am as a person, and if you dig that, cool. If you don't, you don't. I have two stories that'll work out with this. When I was, I want to say 19, 20 years old, I went to Philadelphia to get pierced. I had long green dreadlocks at the time, and I think I had a 2-gauge septum ring, so I had a big thing hanging from my nose. I walk out of my car, a cop starts following me. I walk to the piercing place. I'm in there probably for about an hour. I get pierced a couple times. I walk out, the cop still there, follows me back to my car. And I'm like, at that time, all I thought was, I'd be the easiest person to pick out of a lineup. Was it that guy in the black suit? That guy? Nope, guy with green dreadlocks. It's that guy. But another time, again, green dreadlocks. I was working at a store in the mall, and I had a woman come up to me, and she goes, "What does your mother think of all this?" And I was like, "Well, I'm paying my own way through college. I pay for my car. I pay for all my bills. I don't ask them for money. They're happy with who I am." And she turned to me and said, "If I was your mother, I would kill myself." And I turned away. I was like, "Okay," and I just walked away from her. And I was just like, I don't understand how you could say that to a person at all, but
Well,
If it was in a different situation, I probably would have reacted differently, but I was working. If I was in a different situation, I probably would have gotten upset, but I can't do that at work. And it's just, this is a woman, I'm 20 years old at the time, maybe 21. This is a woman who was probably in her mid to late 30s, and if you feel the need to degrade someone that much younger than you, I think there's something else that speaks more about her than about me, unfortunately.
well, some people have very, very strong beliefs,
Yeah.
as I think you do. Although you're certainly being very expressive and seem very open to the different perspectives, but that woman,
Yeah, I mean, personally, technically I'm agnostic, but the way it's considered is agnostic, practicing atheist. But I think everybody comes to that ideal on their own. You know, you can be raised in the church and grow up the whole time thinking this is what's right, and then one day you see something that changes your mind. You could grow up as an atheist your whole life, see one thing like, you know what, there is a God, I'm going to go with that. And I don't think no matter what people do or what people say, what they believe, I've always believed that as long as they're on a path that makes them happy, it won't bother me. As long as they're happy with what's going on.
What would you say to that woman if she were in this room now and you wanted to respond to her?
From who I am now or who I was
from who
then?
you are now.
I probably would have turned to him and like, if you feel the need to say that to me, I think you should probably go home and sit down and think about what's really bothering you, because there's no reason to treat somebody like that. I could understand if I came up in your face and I'm screaming at your face, you feel the need to react back to me. I was working. I asked you if you needed any help with anything. You know, I wasn't rude to you, and if you think just because I look like that I'm going to be a certain type of person, it's not the world we live in anymore. A lot of people stigmatize tattoos with jailhouse. Never been arrested. Got a couple speeding tickets. Who doesn't when they're a kid? But,
Yeah.
it's a stigma that's out there, and I accept that it's out there. So all I can do is just be who I am and not try to further that stereotype.
Well, that's really what you're talking about, is stereotypes, and obviously both the research and your personal experience indicates that stereotypes are not true, but they are very deeply based upon what people believe,
Yeah, unfortunately.
whether it's true or not.
I think people sometimes just, unfortunately, instead of taking each person as an individual, they're like, if I group them into this, it's a lot easier to think, and that's not the way it is. I don't like going out to bars because I really don't drink that much, but I just hate when people get really sloppy, this fight, stuff like that. But then I've been in bars where people, they get drunk and they're just super happy, and they're all individual people. So you can't go to say like nothing good's going to happen at a bar. Meanwhile, you got people there, creating new friendships that are going to last them the rest of their lives.
Oh. Would you say? I think what you're saying, that you're really talking about how certain cultures develop and how beliefs and views evolve over the course of time. And I get the impression that before I spoke to you, I was pretty willing to commit there was a tattoo piercing culture. Listening to you, I'm not so sure.